What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Scotty Talks NBA Mondays. Of course, I'm back here on my annual Monday. I guess I shouldn't say annual; it's weekly. So every week you can catch me here on Heat Ratio Sports and on DSM Media YouTube page and Twitch channel. Always providing the latest information, news on the NBA, the current standings, the playoffs, everything that's going on. We got a big show. I shouldn't say big show, a quick show full of a lot of topics that I'm going to move swiftly through. Obviously, I'm by myself here today. Got no special guests for you guys. It's just Scotty's takes today, which is nothing wrong with that. If you guys like me, if you like my content, that's why you guys are subscribed here. So I'm just going to give you some of my takes, how I'm feeling about some of these playoff matchups so far. And, of course, dive into that Sixers Game 1 matchup against the Wizards. I was at the game. Obviously, I wasn't tweeting much yesterday. I was pretty tore up. And I am getting the hair of the dog right now just to get me right today. Because yesterday was a complete fail, first off. So me and my girlfriend, we start our day. We got up 9:30 in the morning, went for a run down Kelly Drive by the Schuylkill River. After that, obviously, went home, showered, had a little bite at home, a little bit of turkey bacon, had, a Truly or two before heading over to Wells Fargo Center. And we got there right as the game started, got in the game, ended up having a Coors Light, like one of those 24 ounces, and enjoyed the game. It was an awesome atmosphere. You could feel the playoff intensity. There was a lot more people in there than the last time I was at the Wells Fargo Center, which is a good thing, given that I'm vaccinated. So I'm fully vaccinated. When I go in these situations, I stay masked on. I don't care about, what the CDC says. As far as masks and them saying we cannot wear it. No, I'm wearing my mask. I'm fully vaccinated. I'm going to protect myself as much as I can when I'm in the public. And that's just how I operate. Obviously, you guys live by your own rules, do what you want. But I'm going to keep myself safe. And so we're at the game. We're enjoying the game. The Sixers obviously end up winning. We'll get into the details of that. But, in the second half of the game, my dumbass decided I wanted to have – and you guys probably saw the tweet in the picture on Twitter. I decided to have a double shot of Jameson and Coke. And, I was gone, man. I don't know if it's because I don't drink that much anymore, but I was completely lifted, just infuriated getting out of the parking lot. Like, my girlfriend was mad at me. And then, we come home. We watched some basketball, and I tried to grill out. It was a fail. We had some stuff around the house we needed to do. Fail, just too wasted. It was a waste of a day after the Sixers game, so I can't even complain. I can't complain. I deserve some relaxation and to let loose sometimes. But just wanted to kind of break that to you guys. That's why I was a little lazy yesterday. I'm following up today. Got to get the hair of the dog in the morning. I learned that at a young age. But just got to get back to it, get the content out to you guys, and obviously talk about the NBA playoffs. This stuff is exciting, man, and some of these games really came down to the wire. Before we get started, I do just want to say Modelo is my favorite beer right now. It's probably been that way for 2 to 3 years. My buddy Darius got me hip to Modelo's. We used to drink them for every fight night, every Eagles game. So Modelo is the official beer of Scotty Talks NBA. I just wanted to let you guys know that. Let's get started, though. Before we get started, obviously, got to do some plugging. Be sure to follow the DSM. That's Dylan Scotty Gant Media Group. Be sure to follow that YouTube page on YouTube as well as the Twitch page. And like we mentioned on the last Scotty Talks live episode, we will be doing a giveaway, and it's the city edition of the Joel Embiid t-shirt. All you have to do to be involved in that raffle is simply subscribe to YouTube, DSM Media, and subscribe to Twitch, DSM Media. Simple. You don't have to follow us on Twitter if you don't like us personally. Just follow that page, and we'll put you in the drawing. aside from that, obviously, be sure to follow Heat Ratio Sports. If you guys missed that awesome episode, Tony and the crew, Andre, Al, they all got a chance to hop on with Allah Abu Dhabi. And I'm sorry if I say that wrong, Allah, but it's hard to pronounce your name, man. I'm not going to lie to you. But they had the awesome Allah on the show last week, and it was an awesome episode. You got to see some inside takes from the guy that calls every single Sixers game with Mark Zumoff there. So be sure to check out that episode. Make sure you're subscribed to Heat Ratio Sports, following them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And then, of course, be sure to follow me, the host of Scotty Talks, at Scotty Drown on Twitter and Instagram. And, of course, follow the sports page at ST Philly Sports 1. Guys, that's all the plugging I got for you today. Promise. We'll plug one more time at the end of the show. My least favorite part of the show. I hate the advertising, the promoting myself. I like to promote myself with the content and what I'm talking about. So let's dig in, right? First game we're going to start with, and I'm kind of just going to go in the order of the weekend. Aside from the Sixers game, I'm going to save them for last. Obviously, that's my home team. I'm going to save them for last. I'll spend most of the time on there. Like I said, this will be a quick episode. I'm just going to breeze through these first couple games, spend a little bit of time on the Sixers, and I'm going to get you guys out of here. Game one, not too much. Don't want to, get too high, get too low on any of these teams. They're all playoff teams. They're all in the mix right now, and anything can still happen, right? So we're looking at the Bucks and the Heat. First game of the playoffs, first game of this weekend. Started on Saturday. I think it was around 2 o'clock. This one was a battle, and it was just a preview of what this series is going to be. The Heat are coming off a finals appearance. They're the 6th seed, probably shouldn't be the 6th seed. A lot of, unlucky circumstances happened to the Heat this year, faced a lot of adversity with COVID, coming off, the late playoff, the late playoff appearance, like I said, in the finals there against the Lakers, losing. They played into October. So they were tired, I'm sure, even in December by the time this new season started. So, enough talking about why they're seated where they are. They are where they are at this point, and they're playing the Bucks in the first round, who's the 3 seed. Miami Heat probably shouldn't have that matchup in the first round if they lived up to expectations, but here we are. And it's a battle. You're looking at this Miami Heat team that was the team to knock out Giannis last year in the playoffs. That surprised everybody then. Will it surprise everybody this year if it happens again? Now, just to put it in perspective, coming into this series, I had the Heat winning that first game. Now, let me be straight up with you. I have the Bucks beating the Heat in the series. I do. Now, I understand that either team can win this series, so take that with a grain of salt. I'm not out here predicting futures. I can't predict what's going to happen in this series. But in reality, either one of these teams can win. Either one of these teams are battle tested. The Bucks appear to have added just enough to give them that playoff toughness that they were missing, that grittiness, that will to get it done, and the ability to get it done by any means, by adding a guy like Drew Holiday, and then you throw in guys like Bobby Portis. The minimal add-ons aside from Holiday. It paid off for them, right, this season, and it seemed to in this first game. So we had the Bucks beating the Heat 109-107. Chris Middleton hits the game winner at the end of the game, was a fadeaway mid-range jumper, and my God, it was so reminiscent of Kobe. You can see how he models his game after Kobe with those mid-range jumpers. 27 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists for Chris Middleton. Showed up, right? Giannis Antetokounmpo, 26 points, 18 rebounds, 18 rebounds, 5 assists. Didn't shoot great from the floor, didn't shoot great from the free throw line, got points on the board, worked in other facets of the game, right? Drew Holiday, 20 points, 11 rebounds. Dude is just a tough player. He defends any position. He'll defend anybody on the floor. Gave Jimmy Butler fits. Now, Jimmy Butler said he looked forward to the matchup before the game. I'm not believing that after the game, after seeing how Jimmy Butler played, how he shot from the field. Jimmy Butler, 17 points, 4 for 22 from the field, bro. Now, I like Jimmy Butler, man, and I think he's a special player. I don't expect, him to play consistently like this, but 4 for 22, god damn. And then you talk about the shot selection in the fourth quarter with the three-pointers, dude. You're not a great three-point shooter, so let's stick to our game at this point in the season. I get he hits some clutch threes sometimes, but forcing up three-pointers at the end of the game in that fourth quarter was not wise, in my opinion. Bam Adebayo. I like Bam. I'm somebody that actually thinks he should have been a finalist for the Defensive Player of the Year award. He guards all 5 positions. I've seen him guard Kyrie Irving. I've seen him guard Giannis. Like, he guards anyone as well. But, dude, you got to show up in the playoffs. 9 points, 4 for 15 from the field. You look at Jimmy, 4 for 22. Bam, 4 for 15. Stars didn't show up for the Heat. It's as simple as that. They didn't show up in this game, and that's simply why they lost this game. There's a couple different perspectives, and like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time on each of these games. I just want to get into them all. But there's a couple of different ways to look at that game. You could look at it, one, as that was the Heat's chance to steal the game. They lost by 2 points. It was a final second shot, and Jimmy Butler even got a look at the end of the game. That was maybe the Heat's only chance that they could steal a home game away from Milwaukee in this series. The other side of the other end of the stick would be that the Bucks are supposed to win that game, right? They're supposed to win game 1. They're supposed to take care of home court advantage. And Miami Heat's only job in this series is to steal one of the 4 home games that Milwaukee Bucks would play in a 7-game series in order to win the series 4-3. Now, that also involves winning at home in Miami every game, all 3 games that would be played there. But the other end of the stick is that, did the Bucks just get lucky here because Jimmy and Bam played so poorly? So you got to think, if Butler just plays, minimally better, they probably win that game. If Bam plays minimally better, the Heat probably win that game. Goran Dragic had a game. There was other guys in this game, Duncan Robinson, who had a game. They just didn't get it from their stars. So I'm more on the end of the stick where the Heat, their stars didn't show up, and the Bucks kind of got lucky in this situation in a game where their stars did show up. They played well, and they still only beat the Heat by 2. So I guess the Bucks can have a little bit of confidence, fighting through adversity, whatever the case may be. But I would be a little bit nervous. The fact that Jimmy Butler, 4 for 22, Bam Adebayo, 9 points, probably not going to go like that again in this series, period. If the Heat players, if these players are the NBA finalists last year, if these are the real players that we know, if they're the real deal, then that's not going to happen again. And I think the Heat still have a fair chance in this series. That game, if anything, that should give the Heat confidence going into the rest of the series. So tonight we got the Bucks and the Heat squaring off at 7:30. It will be in Milwaukee. I actually do have the Bucks winning this game. They'll take a 2-0 lead on the Heat, and the Heat will be forced to win their 2 games in Miami, as they should. I think the steal of a game was in that first game, or it will be when they return from Miami in that 5th game. That's where I think that Miami could steal that game. I don't think they're going to steal game 2. I think Bucks will come out. They'll play pretty strong again at home. I expect Giannis to shoot better from the floor. He's going to get into the paint, get a lot more foul shots, I would imagine. And I do expect the Bucks to win, hold down home court at this point. I thought that out of the 2 first home court games for the Bucks, the first one was obviously the one that the Heat could have stole. So the second one, I think the Bucks take care of business. As far as the series prediction, man, I know I picked the Bucks to win, and I've kind of flip-flopped back and forth with this, the Bucks and the Heat. As of right now, I'm going to go with the Heat, man. I'm going to go with the Heat over the Bucks. I know I got the Bucks going up 2-0 tonight, but that means literally nothing in a series where you have to win 4 games. I think the Heat take care of business in Miami. Yes, they lose tonight, take care of business in Miami. They come back, steal game 5. And now it is the Miami Heat's series to lose, right? They would just have to win a game 6 in Miami. So I got Miami in this series. I don't see Jimmy and Bam playing that poorly again, and I think that's bad news for the Bucks that they only won by 2 in this game. Next, we're going to move on to the Mavs, who beat the Clippers 113-103. 4 straight playoff losses for the LA Clippers, right? Stemming back to last season's playoffs, I should say, when they lost the Final Four to the Denver Nuggets and lost that 3-1 lead that they had in that series. This is the 4th straight playoff loss after losing to the Mavs on Saturday. Luka Doncic obviously dominates. They asked him if he came out and played like that because he got snubbed on the MVP recognition. He said, no, I'm all about winning a championship. That's the only thing I'm focused on. There's a lot of players that are great in this league. You know, his time will come for those individual accolades. But this championship window starts as soon as you enter the league until you leave the league. You are thriving. You're striving to get to the championship and win it. This guy gets it, you know, and it seems like these foreign players that come from other countries never seem to be worried. You know, look at Jokic. Never seem to be worried about these individual accolades. And this is this will be, you know, kind of a shot towards Embiid and Ben Simmons, but you look at those guys who kind of come out, and mind you, they are worthy of the awards, but they come out and they say, I am the MVP. And Ben Simmons says, I am the Defensive Player of the Year. Shows that they are at least a little bit concerned with those accolades, right? Like they want those accolades for their resume. Whereas Luka Doncic and Jokic, they defer. They don't care about the awards. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about the individual accolades. They want to talk about championship aspirations. And that's what it's all about. You got to admire these players with that type of personality. So Luka Doncic, 31 points, 11 assists, 10 rebounds, gets a triple-double in this series. Sorry about that if you guys hear my dog barking here. Luka Doncic dominates the Clippers once again, and we saw it last year in a series where if Kristaps Porzingis doesn't get injured, the Clippers probably lose to the Mavs last year in the playoffs. And I guess what's most concerning about this game for me, especially with the Clippers, would be that they still haven't figured it out in the playoffs, and that no team is scared of this team. Like we thought, you know, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, building this team and this dominating defensive presence, you know, calling ourselves dogs of LA and all of this noise would, you know, strike fear into opponents. And it simply doesn't. Nobody's scared of this team. Nobody's scared of Tyronn Lue coach team. Like that's what would worry me the most for the Clippers and what would give me hope for Dallas Mavericks fans. You look at Hardaway Jr., 21 points, 5 for 9 from three-point range, was huge in that fourth quarter. Finney Smith, I believe he hit 4 out of 5 threes. If these guys are hitting threes like that on top of Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis, and then you add in Jalen Brunson, who is a 6th Man of the Year candidate, or I believe is 6th Man of the Year candidate. You add in guys like that, just contribute this minimally. Aside guys like Luka, you know, KP, and then Jalen Brunson, who has contributed consistently this year. And you better watch out for this Dallas Mavericks team. They're very dangerous. I just called them the Davricks. That is crazy of me, but they're very dangerous. I'm looking at Kawhi Leonard, who, you know, I believe everybody probably felt this way watching that game on Saturday, but when I saw him posterize, basically just put Max Kleber in a body bag on that poster, I thought this was, you know, this is going to spark the Clippers. They might finally show some energy because they lacked energy in that game. They looked lethargic. And it's the same thing you saw last year, and everybody blamed it on Doc Rivers and the coaching staff. Who do we blame now? Doc Rivers is gone, right? Rivers is gone. We can't blame Doc for the lack of success this year. It's Tyronn Lue now, right? So what's going on with these guys? You got Kawhi, 26 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Thought they were turning the game around after that poster, and no. Kawhi Leonard, simply not enough. Paul George, simply not enough. 23 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Not enough to beat the Mavericks. And the Clippers, like I said, just simply didn't look alive. You have to wonder, does Dallas have their number? Or the Clippers just not as good as we think? Are they just like one of those regular season teams that are just always going to flop in the playoffs? Like maybe this just isn't a good fit with Paul George and Kawhi being the focal points of this team. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe the Clippers turn it around. You would hope that they get game 2. They're going to need game 2, or I'm going to say, I'm going to be very skeptical of the Clippers here. I thought the Clippers were going to get over the hump this year, at least get to the Western Conference Finals, maybe match up with the Lakers or Phoenix. But after that start, it is hard to hold any stock with them. And my last point with the Clippers is how significantly better they look with Rajon Rondo working with that starting unit than they do with anybody else that plays that point guard position. Rondo, he's called playoff Rondo for a reason. Like, start the man. Put him in your starting lineup. He has more playoff experience probably on anybody in this team, aside from the guys like Serge Ibaka and Kawhi Leonard, maybe Paul George. You know what I mean? He has more playoff experience than these guys, and he's better. He's simply better. He's the one that can keep this team afloat. He can keep them calm, run the offense, not turn the ball over, play good defense. And he simply knocks down shots in the playoffs. So start Rondo, put him in the starting lineup, give this team some confidence, some leadership that they need, and hopefully get back in the series in game 2. Take game 2, and it's a 1-1 series. The series is again wide open. We'll move on to the Nets and Celtics. Well, before I move on to the Nets and Celtics, I will give you my series winner. I did have the Clippers in 6 against the Mavs. Woo! I'm not going to change course here. I'm going to say Clippers in 7, but I'm definitely skeptical of the Clippers even getting out of the first round at this point. They looked very sluggish and sloppy. Nets versus the Celtics. Nets were able to take care of business against the Celtics, winning 104-93. They started slow, but, I know I was putting some tweets out there. I tweeted before the game, as much as I would love the Celtics to beat the Nets, I don't think there's any possibility of that, right? Any possibility. So the game starts. Nets start slow. Tatum's, cooking. Celtics are hitting, 3 after 3 in the beginning of the game. Just hitting big shots, right? Countering everything that Brooklyn's doing. Able to build, a double-digit lead at one point. And the Nets woke up in the third quarter. The big 3 woke up. They won that third quarter 31-20. That's where they fully took over the game, got control of the game, and from there on out, they were smooth sailing. Kevin Durant was hitting from everywhere. Kyrie Irving was hitting everything. James Harden's still getting back in the flow, but was approaching a triple-double. Kevin Durant, scary fall. Guy got up like nothing happened. I thought his shoulder was like torn out or like his arm was broken in half or something. Guy got up off the ground, was fine, walked down the court, proceeded to end the game with 32 points, 12 rebounds. Harden, like I said, approaching a triple-double, 21 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. Kyrie Irving just beating the brakes off of Kemba Walker. That is not even a matchup. Kyrie Irving, 29 points. Kemba Walker had 15 points. Looked very nervous, turning the ball over. Looked scared of this Brooklyn team. Just like their coach, Brad Stevens, sounded at the beginning of the series. I will go ahead and say I think the Nets are going to sweep the Celtics at this point. You look at the one game, you'd probably think out of 4 games, the Celtics probably would have a chance in at least one of them to steal a game, and that was it, right? They had the double-digit lead early on in the game, had control of the game that it looked like. Ended up losing that game. Big 3 goes off. It's a wrap. The Nets are going to be smooth sailing against this Celtics team who just simply doesn't have enough. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to spend too much time on this series. We'll definitely be getting into the Nets, I'm sure, as the playoffs as we get down the line in the playoffs. The Nets are going to be there. We're talking second round NBA Finals, NBA Eastern Conference Finals. Nets are going to be in those ranks with those teams. So we'll get plenty of time to talk about the Nets. But they're going to sweep the Celtics, guys. I'm sorry to put it that way. Sorry, Celtics fans. Not really. Hate you guys. But you're going to get swept. Next, we'll finish off Saturday conversation. We got the Blazers beating the Nuggets 123-109. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Before going into the series, I was like, man, this is kind of evenly matched. You know, this should be a really good series. And it still should. That hasn't changed for me. But I think what has changed is that I now have an idea of who I think will win this series. And I hate to do this to you, Jokic, because I've been, you know, hammering the table for Jokic to win MVP all season. But this is not a good matchup. Now, Jokic, he can dominate the series all series. He can do it every game, all series. But this Nuggets team does not have the guards to go up against Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum. They don't have anybody in the guard position that can, one, match the offensive output of Dame or CJ McCollum. You add in Powell there from Raptors that they got in that midseason trade. And, I mean, their backcourt is stellar. And then you throw in Melo, who looks rejuvenated this season. He's shooting lights out from three. You saw him in that game, 18 points, 4 for 8 from three-point range. Melo's hitting 50% from three. It's going to be hard to beat the Portland Trailblazers because you see where Dame shoots. I mean, 34 points, 13 assists. He's hitting threes from Steph range. I mean, let's be real. It should be called Steph and Dame range because he shoots from anywhere on the court, just like Stephen Curry, and has a similar bag. You know, he has his own, you know, way of playing, but a similar bag and being able to score from everywhere on the court. I don't know if the Nuggets have anybody to match up with them. Now, the Nuggets are stout down low. You know, they got Aaron Gordon, Jokic. They even got Michael Porter Jr. at that small forward position who can shoot the lights out. I don't know. It's a tough matchup for Denver. I'm starting to see it that way. And, you know, maybe game two, I believe that's tonight at 10:30. Maybe game two, Nuggets come out, handle business, take care of Portland. Jokic has another monster game, which, mind you, Jokic had 34 points, 16 rebounds, shot 14 for 27 from the field, lost 123 to 109. Like, it wasn't that close. Like, for him to have that monster of a game and it not be that close definitely concerns me. But maybe, you know, tonight, maybe they flip the script. Maybe they get back on track. You know, it's hard to see, but I'm skeptical of the Nuggets right now. And I did have the Nuggets win in that series, but we will see. It's going to be a 7-game series in my eyes, but I think the Blazers have the advantage there. One last thing I wanted to throw in about this game, Michael Porter Jr., 25 points, 9 rebounds, 1 for 10 from the three-point line. That can't happen, and most nights it probably won't happen. This guy shoots lights out. So if he can just maybe turn his game around, that, you know, and I say turn his game around with 25 points, if he can turn his three-point shooting around, which I'm sure he can, that could change the whole series itself. We'll see tonight, 10:30 p.m. I do think the Nuggets will snag this one just because they need to bounce back, right? They need to show some signs of life. So I do have the Nuggets tonight taking game 2, get in one of their home court games, and then they'll be headed to Portland for game 3, where that's going to be where it gets really interesting, right? Next, we'll move on to Sunday. And by the way, I did say I do have the Nuggets winning that series in 7, but I think the advantage may have just swayed to Portland, just the way that looked. The guard, the penetration from the guards, the shooting from the guards, the offensive output, nobody to guard them. It's hard to see the Nuggets winning that game, but I think it's 7-game series regardless. We got the Suns beating the Lakers on the Sunday afternoon matchup right after the Sixers-Wizards game. Like I said, I will put the Sixers-Wizards last because that is the home team here on this channel. Suns beat the Lakers 99-90. Was a defensive battle, not a ton of scoring, very sloppy. But, you know, overall, the Suns, what I took from this game, people are sleeping on the Suns. The Suns are the real deal. This was a game where CP3 got beat up, banged up, was not 100%, did not look right, and the Suns still won by 9 points. This was a game where we saw Devin Booker's arrival to the playoffs. 34 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, shot 50% from the field. Devin Booker has arrived in the playoffs. He has a very similar game to Kobe, might even have more range, and this guy's a dead eye. Like, I'd be worried if I was the Lakers because you don't have anybody to match up with Devin Booker, and if CP3 is healthy, you really don't have anybody that matches up that's the caliber of him. I like Dennis Schroeder, not a good matchup for him. Anthony Davis got dominated by DeAndre Ayton. That can't happen. If the Lakers want to have any chance, that can't happen. The only thing the Lakers really have going for them at this point in the series, after that brutal loss in game 1. Now, mind you, so they got 2 things going for them. LeBron's teams always seem to lose game 1s in his career. It just seems to be like a regular occurrence. He comes back, he makes huge adjustments. They usually take game 2. So that's something to keep an eye out for. They will be in Phoenix. It's a road game. So Phoenix is supposed to take care of these games at home. That is the other positive for the Lakers that I would look at here. You're not supposed to beat them in game 1 at home in Phoenix. You got to take care of business at home in LA. And obviously you do need to steal one of these games in Phoenix out of the 7-game series. So those are 2 positives to look at it. Obviously, like I said, AD was dismal, 13.7 rebounds, 5 for 16 from the field. That's not enough. And then you move over to DeAndre Ayton, who completely outplayed him, 21 points, 16 rebounds, 10 for 11 from the field. Excuse me. So if Ayton's outplaying Anthony Davis in this series, it's a wrap completely. It's a complete wrap. What I would say about this series, until AD can get himself, back together, get warmed up, whatever's going on with him, I don't know. Until that point, LeBron is going to have to score more. They just simply can't put up points. They put up 90 points. They have to score more. The Suns are going to hit threes. They're going to hit shots. They got guys that can hit shots. They got guys that can score. LeBron, you're going to need to score more than 18 points. I get it. He had 10 assists, 7 rebounds. Got to score more yourself. You need to get these one-on-one matchups in the post with Mikal Bridges. You got to get these switches on screens with guards. You got to try different things to get these mismatches and expose the Suns in areas where they can be exposed simply. There should be nobody that can guard LeBron in the post, aside from maybe Jay Crowder. LeBron needs to take all of their little asses to the post, be a man. Time to show us that you're not washed. Show us that the injuries aren't taking their toll on you. Take their little asses down to the post, dominate the game, make them double team you, get your guys wide open looks. That's going to be the key to this series. It's going to have to be a series dominated by LeBron, which I foolhardily believe that he can. I just need him to flip that switch. We don't need facilitator LeBron in LA right now. We need dominating LeBron who scores the baskets. Get AD open looks, get him easy looks. Don't make him do too much. Right now the focus needs to be on LeBron. Go out there, get this W in game 2. I still have the Lakers winning this series. It's going to go 7 now that they lost that first game. I thought the Lakers might be able to steal that first game, maybe lose game 2 and then get their 2 in LA. It's going to go 7 games. They lost this first one. They'll probably lose the game 2 against the Suns. They're going to need to adjust, but I do have the Lakers in 7 games. They're going to have to steal one of these in Phoenix. We will see if they're able to do it. The next game, we're going to move on to the Hawks and the Knicks. This was a nail biter. Once again, I was able to tune into this one. Hawks beat the Knicks 107-105. The game-winning floater for Trae Young goes throughout Madison Square Garden after hitting it. Says it's quiet as hell in here. It's quiet as shit in here. Whatever he said, it's quiet in the Garden. And if the Hawks go on to beat the Knicks, get to the second round of the playoffs, obviously I think they'll end up playing the Sixers. They're not going to get past the second round, but they're able to beat the Knicks in this playoff series and get them out of there after the Knicks were, heavily favored in this series. If they're able to get them out of there, that will be a legendary moment in Trae Young's career throughout history for the Hawks. Silencing the crowd with that game winner in game 1, in Madison Square Garden where the Knicks are favored. Julius Randle, dude, come on, 6 for 23 from the field. We're sitting here, hyping Julius Randle up, most improved player of the year by a mile. Some were putting him in like the top 10 candidates of MVP. Whatever the case may be, he's become the face of the New York Knicks. And he simply just didn't rise to the occasion yesterday. You're looking at a game where if he simply battles it out with Trae Young, has a way better game, or not even way better, minimally better game once again for Julius Randle, they win that game against the Hawks, which I think that is a reason for Knicks fans to relax a little bit because Julius Randle did play so bad. He's not going to play that bad again. I don't think the Hawks match up really well against him. So maybe that was just a bad shooting night for him. Whatever the case may be, I do think that Randle will play better in this series. Bogdanovich, dude, on the Hawks, man, 4 for 9 from 3, 18 points, some clutch, tight spaced 3-pointers. I mean, guys in his area. I mean, this guy's a lights out shooter. That's scary. That type of shooting is scary. And then you mix in guys like Gallinari, Lou Williams off the bench. So this Hawks has a little bit of a team here. You got John Collins down low, Clint Capella to man the interior of the defense. But I still have the Knicks in this series. I had them in 6 coming in. I think it goes 7 now that the Hawks stole one in New York. The Knicks are going to have to steal one back. But at the end of the day, for me, and what it breaks down to with the Knicks and the Hawks is that I simply value defense over offense. I think defense is every night. I think it's going to be there every night, where offense is streaky. Some nights guys are just going to have off nights. Knicks are an extremely talented defensive team. The Hawks are an extremely talented offensive team. When those clash, unless the Hawks are on fire this entire series, I think the Knicks' steady, physical, defensive approach will take control of this series. The Hawks were just able to steal one. Hey, and that can switch the whole momentum. Maybe that does give them a boost to win this series. But I got the Knicks in 7. What I'm going to end with on this game specifically is just that I thought maybe Julius Randle might be the best player in this series, but Trae Young is the best player in this series. And it's time to put some respect on his name, right? We got to show some respect to Trae Young. He got the All-Star snub this year. He's a guy that's in the top tier of scoring in the NBA, top tier of passing, assists, leading in his team in those categories. And he's the best player in this series, and it's not close right now. We'll see if Julius Randle bounces back, but it's going to come down to those two guys, right? Whoever the better player is in this series is whose team's going to win this series. So I got Knicks in 7. We'll see how it goes once again. Last one before we get to the Sixers and close out the show here. Grizzlies shocked the Jazz. I don't care if Donovan Mitchell is playing or not. You're looking at a 1 seed versus an 8 seed. The Grizzlies are technically a 9 seed. They're a 9 seed. They beat the Warriors, who were the 8 seed. The Grizzlies are a 9 seed that knocked off the Jazz in the first game in Utah last night. And you're looking at this game, you're like, what happened in this game for them to lose this game, right? Well, first of all, the Memphis Grizzlies are complete motherfucking dogs. And excuse my language there, but these guys are physical. You look at Dillon Brooks, Ja Morant, they set the tone for this team, and then you follow it with length, interior penetration on offense, and then a little bit of shooting on the outside with Grayson Allen, Dillon Brooks able to hit shots, Jaren Jackson's able to hit shots. And then Jonas Valanciunas has been a monster for them this season, I should say. A career year for him, career highs in scoring, rebounding, and just his contribution to a team. You look at this matchup, he gets Gobert fouled out in the fourth quarter. That's huge for the Jazz. Now, I'm one of the guys, I'm going to call Gobert overrated every single chance that I get. But one thing he's not overrated at is manning the interior of that defense. And when you see him go out early in the fourth quarter, that's terrible news for the Utah Jazz as it pertains to winning that game, right? So if you're looking throughout this series, if Valanciunas can control that matchup like he did game 1, that's asking a lot against a great defender like Rudy Gobert. if he can control that matchup, they can steal this series. Memphis Grizzlies are a tough, defensive-minded team, physical. And they took one in Utah where you're not supposed to win. Utah is supposed to have a great fan base, right? Not supposed to win. Brooks, 31 points, 7 rebounds. Ja Morant, 26 points, 11 for 21 from the field. Clutch buckets. People were arguing with me over the weekend trying to call Ja Morant better than Zion. We'll get into that conversation at a later time. I still think Zion is the best player from that draft. I think he's better than Ja Morant by a fucking mile. Excuse my language once again. I'm very passionate about that. It's not even a close conversation between the two players for me. But I see what you guys mean as far as the leadership, the intangibles, I guess you could say. But give me a fucking break. He's not better than Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson is a generational talent. Let's be honest here. But Ja Morant, he's got stones, right? He's got stones in his sack, dude. Like, this man has got the balls to take any shot in any moment, and he's got the will to get this Grizzlies team by a team like the Jazz. Now, I know I mentioned Donovan Mitchell didn't play, that sprained right ankle. Jazz need Donovan Mitchell to win this series. So, like, they can get Mitchell back, and I still think they can lose this series because the Grizzlies are just that slept on. It's a tough-ass Western Conference. And I think if you're the Jazz at this point, you probably would have rather had that's a stretch maybe. You don't want to play Curry, but as far as a full team and the way they play defense, it's going to be a way more physical and brutal and battle-tested series than what it would have been against the Golden State Warriors, in my opinion. And if I'm a Jazz fan, I would be worried. They need Mitchell back, and they don't need hobbled Mitchell. They need Donovan Mitchell, all-star caliber player. Donovan Mitchell. Like, whew. I'm not going to pick the Grizzlies over the Jazz yet. I'm going to give them a little bit of respect, but Jazz in 7, my goodness. And they're going to go 7 games in the first round against the Grizzlies. What are they going to do in the second round? My God. Finally, we'll move on. We'll finish it out with the Sixers versus the Wizards. Sixers handled business, 125-118 at home against the Washington Wizards on Sunday. As I said, I got, to be live at this game. I watched it in person. Was an awesome game to be at. Awesome environment. Philly's atmosphere is amazing. It's only going to get better with the more fans that they allow into the arena. And, it felt like a playoff atmosphere. And you see how well the Sixers have played at home in previous seasons, with this crowd. So that's exciting. The only thing negative for the Sixers in this game, obviously the slow start, you're battling out with Washington. You weren't really able to close out the game either. You weren't really able to pull away significantly at any point in the game. So those would be the negatives for me. Obviously, Embiid in foul trouble in that first half really kind of messed with the whole timeline and approach to the game, right? So as soon as Embiid goes out with 3 fouls in the first half, now you have to change the offense. You have to go strictly through Tobias Harris. That's why you see Tobias with the highest point total throughout the entire game ones of the NBA playoffs this year with 37 points. Shout out to Tobias. Showed up big. There's a lot of talk about, what Tobias would mean for this series because Tobias struggled during the regular season against the Washington Wizards. But showed up big in the first game, held it down while Embiid was dealing with foul trouble. And then, of course, Embiid came in the second half and supplied us with that consistent go-to presence and ultimately closed the game out for the Sixers. So you look at Embiid, 30 points in 30 minutes, 6 rebounds, obviously had foul trouble in the first half. 30 points in 30 minutes, guys. Come on. That's a point a minute. You can't make up production like this. Like, if he can just get, stay out of foul trouble in the rest of this series, it's going to be doomsday for Washington Wizards. He's probably going to average close to 30 to 35 points a game in this series. So lights out for Washington. That was your chance, in my opinion, in game one. Like, you come into this series, not only do you need to steal, one of the games in Philly to have a chance to, you know, kind of even it up and win the series. But you had to steal the series in general, right? Like, this series was never yours to win. You're not the favorite. And I think that the Wizards' goal coming into this, like, yeah, they may think that they have a chance, but in reality, they're winning 2 games max in this series. And I only had them winning 1. I had a gentleman's sweep for the Philadelphia 76ers going into this series. Now I have a straight-up sweep. It's a wrap. This series is over. I'm being dead-ass serious. The Wizards' chance was yesterday. That was when they could steal a game in Philly, steal a game of the series. That was their chance. You know, Bradley Beal comes out, 33 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, running his mouth all up and down the court in Wells Fargo Center. And you take that motherfucking L and you take it back to Washington with you. Now, you're going to catch this next one on Wednesday. And I really hope – I hope that Bradley Beal is so vocal throughout the entire series, because when he gets swept, I guarantee you Embiid is going to feed that right back to him. I saw him out yesterday, hits a three-pointer in the second quarter to go up by 4. In the second quarter, Bradley, this is my house. Motherfucker, no. Hell no. It ain't your house. Now, Steph Curry comes up in here and says some shit like that. Sure, like, this dude goes off. LeBron James, sure, this man is a Hall of Famer, a legend. He gives it to the Sixers here and then. KD, you know, Giannis. It bothered me when Giannis did that shit because he hasn't proven shit. Bradley Beal, keep that energy. Keep that energy vibing, bro, because that shit is going to come back to bite you. This is my house. Not ever in your life, brother. Unless you come to Philly and play for us. Not ever in your life, brother. Guarantee that. This is Embiid's house. Let's get that shit straight right now. And if it ain't Embiid's house, it's motherfucking Tobias Harris' house, and then it's Ben Simmons' house. It ain't yours, period. So he will regret that. Then later on in the game, he mocks Embiid going like this after he hits a shot. All right, you silly clown motherfucker. So used to losing that you're showboating when you get like a 1-point lead in the third quarter. Bradley Beal, man, go on now. Go on now. I had a lot of respect for him before this series. You're going to have to eat them words. That's what's going to happen here. Now, I'm sorry about that spiel on Bradley Beal, but I just thought that was pure foolishness, especially whenever you're defended by Ben Simmons, you're getting that ass strapped. Russell Westbrook getting that ass strapped. Matisse Thybulle strapping that ass. Now, I got this tweet I want to share from my guy, Brock. As you guys know, Brock Landis always comes with the statistics. He does all the film review. Great statistician, great analyst as far as just watching the film and really breaking down what guys are doing. A lot of complaints about Ben Simmons yesterday, guys. 6 points. He only scored 6 points in a playoff game. He doesn't have to fit what you want him to do, period. I'm sick of the shit. I'm sick of the complaining by the fan base. We want him to score double digits. He doesn't need to do what you want to do. He needs to do what Doc wants him to do for this team to win a goddamn championship. So we're going to stop talking about all this negativity surrounding Ben Simmons when this guy had 6 points. Sure. Oh, my God, 6 points. He had 15 rebounds and 15 assists. So let's talk about him. I'm going to share my man Brock's tweet right here. Ben Simmons held Westbrook and Beal to a combined 4 buckets on 10 attempts and defended on 4 of their turnovers. I watched Russell Westbrook throw it to the fan in the stand when defended by Ben Simmons. Put some respect on the name. In the past 51 seasons, 3 players finished with a playoff game with at least 1 steal, 1 block, 15 rebounds, and 15 assists. Oh, Jason Kidd and Magic Johnson, 2 fucking Hall of Famers, top 5 point guards of all time. Ben Simmons, only 3 players that have done it in the last 51 seasons. Put some respect on Ben Simmons' name. That's my spiel for Ben Simmons. I said coming into the playoff run, into this series, my most important piece to the Sixers is Ben Simmons. Don't get it twisted. But it isn't for the reasons that you guys pick. It's for way different reasons. I need Ben Simmons to be full go at all times. Ben Simmons was full go at all times yesterday. He played with intensity yesterday. Because you guys don't see him getting to the bucket. Oh, because he missed 6 free throws. I get it. That's concerning. Free throw shooting is concerning. He needs to get that right. But the 6-point thing, the scoring thing, he doesn't need to score 30 points for this team to be successful. He needs to score about 10 points and get into that 7 to 10 assist range as far as distributing. That is his role as a facilitator on this team. His role is to defend the best player on the other team's, the best player on the other team, as in Bradley Beal, as in Russell Westbrook. That's his job. And then, of course, cleaning up the glass, doing anything else intangible-wise, that's going to be Ben Simmons' job here. This scoring, complaining, it's getting on my goddamn last nerve. It is clear that you guys have never played basketball. You guys have literally never played basketball, because I'm telling you, if I'm playing with Ben Simmons, he is my favorite player that I could ever play with. He doesn't shoot. If you're a basketball, most basketball players want to score. That is their main drive. You think Embiid doesn't want to drop 30? You think Tobias Harris doesn't want to drop 20 to 25 points a game? Of course they do. That's why they do it. Ben Simmons understands that. He understands that they're better at that, and he enables them. 15 assists. Why are we complaining? 15 assists, that is at least 30 points of offense. That's not even counting three-pointers. So come on, guys. We got to really get our basketball minds upgraded. We really need to update the way we think about basketball, looking at stats, you know, as far as scoring. And it's just so funny because my guy Tony Cotillo got an argument with me on Twitter the other day. And mind you, this is all within the Heat Ratio family. It's all love. It's all respect. Got an argument with me about Ja Morant, but this guy heavily criticizes Ben Simmons for not scoring. But then when we bring up Zion Williamson and Ja Morant, it can't just be about the point. So then we got to keep that same energy here, right? And I'll keep that same energy as well with Ja Morant's situation. Time for, you know, that's a discussion for a different day. But I just want to point out the consistency that we need to show here when analyzing these players, right? Now, I'm not saying Zion is better than Ja Morant just because of the points he puts up. It's his entire contribution to that Pelicans team. We'll talk about that a different day. You know, it's hard for me not to get into it because I have so much I can dig into with Zion Williamson and why he's better than Ja Morant. But it's a convo for a different day. But just to kind of put emphasis on staying consistent with our analyzation and understanding basketball, guys. Like, Ben Simmons comes to YMCA, everybody's going to pick Ben Simmons on their team first because he passes the ball, he defends, and he plays at 110% at all times. Just because he doesn't score the basketball on the offensive end does not mean that he's not on full go. So all you guys panicking, 6 points, oh, 0 for 6 from the free throw line. Oh, get over yourselves. It's not all about points these days, guys. You can do other things than score on the basketball court. Excuse me. So we touched on Embiid. Obviously, he's going to be dominating this playoff drive, this playoff run that we're on. Tobias Harris, if he can play like that, we're winning the goddamn championship if he's getting 37. If he's getting 20 to 25 points a game, we're winning the goddamn championship. I can guarantee it. Simmons, 6 points, 15 rebounds, 15 assists, incredible defense on Bradley Beal down the stretch, incredible defense on Russ to start the game. Throw some respect on these guys. It's the big three in Philly, motherfucker. Like, it's time to throw some respect. My language is going off the wall today, but I'm feeling it. It's the playoff intensity today, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. The other thing that I wanted to point out with the Sixers, and this will kind of be the final note that I'm going to get to today, Seth Curry, that is, George Hill, Danny Green, combined 37 points, 7 for 16 from the three-point line. If these guys can give us that throughout the playoffs this year, it's a wrap. Once again, I said Tobias 20 to 25. If this trio right here of Seth Curry, Danny Green, and George Hill can give us anywhere from 30 to 40 points a night and give us some consistent three-point shooting from outside, it is a wrap. It is a wrap. I don't give a fuck if it is the Brooklyn Nets, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Miami Heat, motherfucking Los Angeles Lakers, the fucking Golden State Warriors from 2016. If these guys are contributing at that efficiency and at that rate, it's a wrap, because you know what you're getting from Joel, you know what you're getting from Ben Simmons, and you know what you're getting from Tobias Harris. These three guys can pull it off. It is a wrap, guys. And the final note would be Maxey. Tyrese Maxey, man, this guy is a punch of energy when he enters the game, right? Came in the game, you know, crucial minutes down the stretch yesterday. Gets an and one as soon as he comes into the game in a clutch-ass point in the game in the fourth quarter. Finished with 3 points, only played 7 minutes, but you noticed him as soon as he came on the floor. Two other guys that I noticed on the floor, but for negative reasons, Shake Milton and Furkan Korkmaz. Shake Milton be looking like a deer in headlights at sometimes. And then some days he comes out, he's just shooting a three-pointer like it's nothing. He looks like a dog. He's aggressive. But yesterday he looked like a deer in headlights once again. Furkan Korkmaz couldn't hit the side of a barn yesterday. Is that nerves? What is it, dude? Because if you come out like that with the minimal role that you already have in the playoffs again, you might not get off the bench again this playoff run, right? So what I'm getting at is that Maxey deserves all their goddamn minutes. He deserves every single one of Shake and Korkmaz's minutes, and I'm not over-exaggerating here. Maxey does more for the team. He does more consistently, and he gets it. He gets basketball. He's a dog. He brings the energy. I'm with giving Maxey, Shake, and Ferk's minutes in the future. I'm all the way with it. You saw 11 guys on that Sixers roster get some playing time yesterday, and that's not even including Mike Scott. I don't think that's a preview of what we'll see throughout the playoffs. I think that Doc was kind of trying to steal some minutes yesterday, see how it goes kind of in that game one. You're kind of, you know, getting a feel for the other team. He tried to steal some minutes, getting some guys some run there, getting his starters some rest. But I don't think that's going to be an ongoing trend throughout the playoffs for Doc Rivers and this Sixers team. The final note on that series, you know, game one, what I realized, like I said, I had them at a gentleman's sweep, Sixers in 5 against the Washington Wizards. I figured, you know, Beal may go off for one game. Maybe Westbrook and Beal go off in the same game, and that kind of propels them to one win. Nah, I don't see it. They're getting fucking swept. It's a 4-0. They're getting swept. They're going to lose game 2 on Wednesday. They'll lose game 3, Saturday, and then game 4 will be it next Monday. The series will be over. Sixers will get ample rest while the Hawks and Knicks battle it out in the 7-game series. And the second round is going to be looking golden. Golden. The path to the Eastern Conference Finals is looking golden for the Sixers. So that's where I'm going to leave that. No more gentleman's sweep for the Wizards there. Y'all getting that ass swept. Bradley Beal, you opened your mouth too much. You're going to pay for it. And that's where I'm going to leave that series, guys. And that's kind of where I'll leave today's show. You look at the 1 seeds in each conference. 1 seed took care of business at home. 1 seed looks sketchy as hell, right, against a 9 seed. and we know what I'm talking about there. Celtics, you're done. You're getting swept. Wizards are getting swept. Who else is getting swept? That might be my only 2 sweeps in the first round. I got a couple 7-game series. I think Bucks, Heat, 7 games. Clippers, Mavs, I think that's 7 games. Blazers, Nuggets, I think that's 7 games. Suns, Lakers, probably 7 games. Hawks and Knicks, 7 games. Grizzlies and Jazz. I think I said 7 games earlier today. I'll give Jazz the dub in 6, but man, it could go 7. So that's 5 series out of what, the first 8 series that I have going 7 games in the first round, which just shows you what we're up against this playoff season, you know, this year's playoffs of the NBA, National Basketball Association. We got some crazy matchups, and it's only going to get better as these rounds go on, as these games go on, as we get deeper into the series, deeper into the playoffs. We're going to get better and better basketball, better and better entertainment, more and more drama, better and better matchups. Guys, stick with me throughout this playoff run. I will be doing a lot of work with other Sixers insiders, including, you know, obviously Dylan Davis. I'll get on the show. Brock Landis, I know I got him booked for another show. Kai Carlin, I'm hoping to get him back on the show here. So I got some guys coming on the show. We'll definitely dig into some Sixers talk. I'll definitely get some analysts from my Heat Ratio Sports family here on the show. But guys, stick with me throughout this playoff run. Make sure you're turning those alerts on YouTube so you're notified every time we drop a show. Be sure you're subscribed to the Heat Ratio Sports YouTube page. Make sure you're subscribed to the DSM Media YouTube page as well as the Twitch channel. Like I said, if you guys go subscribe to the DSM Media YouTube page as well as subscribe to the Twitch channel, follow that Twitch, we will enter you in for a raffle for the City Edition T-shirt jersey of Joel Embiid. As I mentioned earlier, all you got to do is subscribe to the DSM Media YouTube channel and Twitch page, guys. Be sure to follow me at Scotty Drowned on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And then, of course, you can find the sports page at ST Philly Sports 1 on Twitter and Instagram. Guys, that's going to be it for this episode of Scotty Talks NBA Mondays. I will be seeing you guys later this week, hopefully Thursday, I'm thinking, to kind of recap the Sixers Game 2 matchup. Thank you guys for tuning in. Until next episode, that is going to be it for me. Scotty is out. Peace, guys. Happy playoffs.